right, so today's class is about making or creating space where the pose will allow you to make space. Seems logical, and it'll be me reminding you of some things that you may have forgotten and already known. And a lot of it is relaxing into space and bringing yourself out of your mind and into the body. So we're going to bring what's called in the Thich Nhat Hanh was talking about meditation and mindfulness is coming home to yourself. So this may also be a sense of coming home into your body, creating space, moving the mind out of the way. So lovely part. And I would like to start with standing. I know this is our yin class that we want to be relaxed in. We definitely will, but just having that opening in the spine as someone who wakes up in the morning, or if it's at the end of the day, having a few of these roll downs in the spine, and also an awareness of posture. Creating space is in a sense, let me just make an adjustment to my internet. Hold on. Okay, hopefully we won't have any glitches there. Okay, so making space in posture, and starting with simply your hands on your hip bones right here. And if you poke around enough, get past some of the fleshy bits, and you're going to find your headlights. We're going to call these the headlights right here. And I want you to feel that you're going to tilt your headlights under. Now I'm kind of softening in my knees too, because I feel it more if I soften in my knees. And we're simply going to tilt those hip bones up as we tuck the tail under. And then the hip bones will start to point more towards the floor as you arch the back. Now, you can soften in with the knees if that gives you more of an awareness. You can make that more of an exaggeration. It's simply a tilting and creating space in the pelvis. In fact, I'm going to do more of a squatting in the knees. This will free up space in the pelvis. Notice the drawing in and up of the abdominal, wrapping around. And this has a lot in Pilates, practice in Pilates. We think of this as a heavyweight belt. So you have a belt around you. So find somewhere into neutral zone and straighten out the legs here. Slightly having the feet underneath the hips. So there's slightly a bit of space. Feet are not together. Relaxing the arms here, taking the chin into your chest, and I want you to dip over only until you feel your shoulders fold over to about the belly button or maybe the bra line, and then start to round and come back up to standing. So we're only going to do half of the spine as we round forward. Notice or sense the vertebra peeling open as we flex. So we're flexion and extension. Here we are flexing just the halfway point. Keep the navel engaged. And then extension here. One more time, just that halfway. So cervical spine flexion, upper back, simply only the shoulder blades, just the rib cage area. Okay, so now we're definitely more towards the belly button. Like I said belly button earlier, but we're definitely going to the belly button now, but we're not going all the way down just yet. Arms are going to hang out and do like a little zombie thing every time we go back and under, keeping the neutral pelvis. So if it helps to keep your hands over the belly and the back of the spine here so that you can feel neutral pelvis, and then extension up. And there's a crown of the head thread there, and chin, upper back, upper middle back. So middle back, we'll say that we're doing to the middle back really now. Extension. All right, so here we go. A little bit further now. Let's move more into the lower thoracic. whatever that can be meaning for you. So finding the dynamics of a little bit at a time, or the dynamics of the curling under. Extension. One more time. Cervical, upper back, upper middle back, lower thoracic. And we have the lumbar and the sacral points. So let's move into that folding over from the very low area here. Now I'm going to ask that you stay for just a moment to hang the arms and then come up. We'll do that 2 more times here. Extension. Here we go into the flexion. Really knowing your spine here. Creating space between the vertebrae. One way, giving into gravity. The other way is to really pay attention and be more in awareness of where the pelvis can lengthen up. So the pelvis and the muscles here lengthening the spine. Okay, so we're going all the way down now. Draw the belly in as you round those low vertebrae even more. Let's go all the way deep and hold and hang out right here. Gravity is going to take all of those vertebrae. And you can do like these little flops if you like. If you shift your weight into the ball of your foot and out of the heel, you can open up the back of the knees a little more. Draw your belly button up. As you look up just a little bit, exhale, fold. Now you can also do this over a chair. So if you're not going all the way to the ground, if you're not one of those that can take your heart below your head or below the hips, you can opt to use a wall or a chair and just take it a little bit. A few more breaths right here. Really feeling the shoulders, head, neck, upper spine, middle spine, lower spine, letting gravity have its way. One more time to look up halfway, draw your belly button back, fold from the hip pits rather than just the waist, or sense that you might be. It's okay if it is that. Soften the knees, and we come up one vertebra at a time. The pelvis tucks under. Keep that pelvis tucked under without the booty. So it's the muscles within the pelvis. And then the navel is extending, helping to extend the spine. Shoulders relax. Extension, extension, neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Shoulders up, roll, and roll back. Drawing the arms up in the air, grasping one wrist, and we'll take it over to one side. So collapsing or leaning and softening to the side is part of it, but I want you to think of extension and then bending. So extension and flexion. Coming back to center, release, taking the other wrist in your hand. Extension, create that space, and then move from the space that's been created. A lot of times we just really give in to compression. It's easy to give in to compression, especially a class like this that's yin yoga. So it's not what you want to do. You would just want to kind of collapse into things, and that's okay too. Well, let's come back through to center and bringing your arms back behind. Now, I'm going to show you from the back. One of two things, either holding opposite wrist, opposite elbow, reverse fist bump, or two options. Reverse prayer, fingers pointing down towards the sacrum of the floor. Reverse prayer, fingertips pointing up and between the shoulder blades. You can kind of wiggle them in. So right here, creating space, draw the shoulders back, open up, and we're going to do this kind of butterfly with the elbows and the spine. You can also do This is similar to what we started with. So if you want to, you can soften the knees in the same way, or simply go with what your memory of that muscular memory. And then hold here, open up the shoulders, draw the elbows back, and arch the back, lift the chest up, and begin to feel that you're gripping and lifting the arches of your feet up. Draw the pelvic floor up. You can lift your gaze if your neck is available to do that. Big arch. Tilt your tail up and back behind you. Draw those elbows back, shoulders still down, all these things. And release, come back, neutral spine, neutral pelvis, release and circle your wrists around here. My pointer is on, yeah, there we go. All right, so as we come down into a forward fold position, so feet flexed, use the blanket under your knees. Hamstrings are a little too much for you. I'll put this over here. All right, so scoot a little bit to the edge of your mat. We're going to do some fun stuff as we go in. So this is our staff pose. Nothing fancy about this one. Remove the flesh. We got a little flesh like mine. It's well fleshed in that area. Draw the shoulders up, slide the scapula bones down. Pelvic floor draws up, the Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana Bandha, or the navel draws back. So we extend the spine up. Chin is in alignment with the floor. Press your hands down by your hips and press down into your hands. Open up and lift the chest without overarching in the spine. So it's an active posture, although nothing is happening here. Flex the feet so that the toes point up to the ceiling. And some yogis, you may want to push down into your knees, the back of your knees, and elevate your heels. Staff pose. Now, from staff pose, start to sweep the arms up in the air. Inhale and fold from the hip pits as the same way that we were from standing pose. And while you're here, holding maybe the back of the knees, little cramp, back of the knees or the back of the calves, using a strap if it's necessary for you. Inhale, looking up, draw the belly back, create space here, and fold forward even more. So moving the organs out of the way, and recreate that again, dancing with the breath. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, lead with the chin as you fold forward and continue there. Elbows are going to be out to the sides wherever you are. This helps the shoulders to move away from the ears, drawing the scapula bones down. And once again, even 1% length, 1% more space right here. Creating space in the lungs, inhaling completely, exhaling completely. And exhale, and we're going to hold right here.
Slowly rounding up, allow your belly button to be the motivator.
Extension back into staff pose. So, little bit of combination of Pilates in this, because Pilates to me has creates so much space in the body and alignment in the spine and bones and all that. So this is a roll back, and we're going to use zombie arms to allow us, but I also want you to feel that you can use your body to roll back on. So using arms, no help, we're simply going to start with rocking the pelvis under, scooping, and then coming back to that staff spine, staff feet and legs, okay? So tilt your pelvis under, draw the navel back, reach for your feet at the same time, and that's it. Taking now the flexion out of the spine, coming back to extension. Create space, tilting under. Draw the belly button back, but reach for those feet. Oh, at the same time. So the resistance is what creates the space. The duplicity of the movements. Reach forward and lean back. Coming back to sitter. Now you know you're sitting tall, you can feel those bones underneath you. So as you tilt under, the bones go moving under. Pubis bone is moving toward your head. So crown of the head wants to touch the pubis bone. Let's go down a little bit more. Yes, until you feel like, oh, I'm not going to make it, back up. So only go to that point where you think you might not make it, back up. And then we're going to go back through there. And back again. Leaning back. Flex your feet, reach for your feet, reach. Try to reach them at the same time. So you're not leaning back. You're reaching forward, reach forward, tilt under, reach forward, reach, reach. And the last time. And now we're going to go all the way down, but preparing the same way that we were experiencing before. One vertebra. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, and placing yourself all the way down to the mat. Take a moment here to just adjust yourself any way you need to. So, I know a lot of you are protective of your neck. This can also be done against the wall. So we're going into an extension of the legs. So one option is to simply go into the waterfall. Waterfall pose, and we can use a block for this. So the block will go underneath the hips, or the derriere, the hips, the derriere, and you'll stay in this position. And one thing you can do is bring the legs up and over. We kind of did that already with the forward fold. So I'm going to say stay in that pose. That's a wonderful pose. If you're feeling that this is okay for you, we're going to go up and over into plough pose. So this can be done, like I said, against the wall, where you place your feet on the wall and you can lift your hips up. All right, so arms alongside your body, press down into your triceps, press into your hands, because you're gonna lift those hips up and bring your legs overhead. Now you wanna wiggle your shoulder blades back, interlace your hands, and press those interlaced hands and arms down. Staying here in plough pose, straighten the back of your knees up to the ceiling and extend your belly button back towards spine and create space right here. An exaggeration of the forward fold we were in earlier. This is our cervical spine getting a nice flexion. So relax your breathing here. Straighten up your legs and extend the spine. Okay, so now tops of the feet, flip the tops of the feet so that the top of the toes are down. You can bring the hands to the small of your back, because we are going into shoulder stance. So my people that are in waterfall, hang out
a little while longer. So shoulder stance, weight is on the shoulders. Your feet, knees, and hips are meant to be stacked. So if you find that your legs are more in front and there's a lot of weight happening over the head and the knees, head and the shoulder and less in the shoulders, one of two things, bringing it more in this direction, which means you may have to use the wall, or you may have to re-grip your hands. Elbows hugging in is going to make this a lot more stabilized under the shoulder. So if you're here, floint your toes. So it's a combination of pointing and flexing. You're going to flex the feet and point the feet and flex the toes. Just think Barbie doll, high heels, or like you're wearing stilettos. Okay, so we're hanging out right here, and we're going to take one leg over, tipping, touch or not, no worries, back into our shoulder stance here. Right leg is going to go over the left shoulder, so a little rotation. Left leg dips over to the right shoulder. Something a little fun right here. Last 3 breaths. Now we start to bring the legs back overhead, toes tucking under. Arms are going to go to the back of the legs, and we're going to slowly come out of our shoulder stance here in plough. One vertebra at a time. And slowly floating the legs all the way down. To reverse that, or to neutralize what we were just doing, taking your hands behind your head, one hand, we're going to come up onto the elbows. So this can also be done with a block. I'm going to show you without the block first. This is our fish pose, Matsyendrasana. So hands down, elbows underneath the shoulders, puffing the chest up, and drop the head back. Now, some yogis, like I said, you can use the block between the shoulder blades, and then you're off the elbows and the shoulders all together. Some yogis will be okay with bringing the crown of the head all the way to the mat. And once you have the crown of your head, you can get yourself a little bit of a scooch right here. Keep the crown of the head tucked under, hands in prayer. This is the full expression. Release the jaw here. Now this next part, not for everyone. Last 2 breaths. Exaggerated fish pose, you release your head, microphone back to the mat, bring both hands behind the back of your head and lift your head up, flex your feet, look at your feet, turning the head a little side to side very gently. Just want to reverse by going back into that flexion of the neck. All right, beautiful. So straight legs, arms out to the side. Let's take a little moment for some extension in our thoughts. So creating space within the thoughts, creating space within the breath. Starfish your legs, so 1 foot is to each corner of the mat, and we'll let the arms also be in such a way. Take your left leg and cross it ankle over ankle to the right side. So the left leg is going to move itself over to the right side's territory. We're going to bring the hands, elbows, forearms stacked on top of each other, holding opposite elbow. I have, in this case, my right forearm on top. And we're going to slide the rib cage or the upper body towards the feet. So the elbows both want to cinch towards the feet. So what we have here is a side banana pose. And hips are grounded, shoulders grounded. And here I'm going to ask you to focus simply on the inhale and exhale, counting to yourself 5 breaths at a time. You will count 5 down to 1. You can do 1 to 5 if you like. 5 to 1 ensures that you will start back again at 5. And you're only going to take 5 breaths at a time. When you lose count, you just start back over wherever you're starting back at 5. Think of the compartments of breath. It starts low in the belly or the abdominal, so abdominal breathing, and then in the ribs, and then finally right at the collarbones, at the very upper arches of the lungs. So, and then reversing that, upper arches, collarbones, ribs, and belly as the air escapes out, creating space between your thoughts and in your lungs. If you forget that we're counting breaths, just gently remind yourself. The focus is on the breath, belly, ribs, chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, belly. Just this monotonous mantra of breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I know I am breathing out. And these will be the final 3 breaths for this pose as we wind down. Finishing on an exhale, rewinding the way we came out of it. So the upper body comes back to center, reopen the arms and open and allow the legs to come back to the starfish. Some yogis, you may want to hug your knees in if the low back needs that extension. So do that for yourself, and we will Reverse when you're ready. Right foot travels all the way over to the left to cross ankle on top of ankle. Left forearm comes on top, grasping opposite elbow, and I'm going to be sliding my upper body or wiggling towards the left, creating a side banana. So you want to think just like a banana. It's got that slight curve. So we're slightly opening and extending on one side and closing like a banana here. And then nothing fancy, with our mind creating space between the thoughts. Sounds easy, right? Depends on how well of a thinker you are. And most people I meet in the family that I, of course, grew up in, many educators, we pride ourselves on thinking and figuring things out. But I have to say, the same problems that I get myself into, not sure I can use my brain to get them out. It's time to let thought have some space, focusing on the breath. I know I am breathing in. Exhaling, I know that I am breathing out. Let's continue that mantra to yourself, breathing in. I am breathing out. And no matter how many times you drift off, you might be able to focus on one breath and then you're darting off with your mind, and that's okay. That is part of the process, the tennis game of our mind. But the more you practice, the longer you'll be able to sit with just the simplicity of your breath. The simplicity, which once was monotony and the boringness, starts to become a little more depth to it. Become a little more interesting, and then you start to look forward, or over time, in my experience, you look forward to not thinking, not worrying, letting things settle. Knowing I don't have to figure everything out. There's a greater force outside and within guiding me on. I can take a break. It's not all me. Keep those 3 compartments of breath: belly, ribs, chest, ribs, and belly. And our last 3 here. Exhaling all the air, gently guiding your upper body back to center, starfishing the arms, and starfish the legs open for just a brief moment here. Bending the knees, placing the spine completely on the ground. See, we're right here, good. And I'd like to do some bridges here. So be sure your feet have some distance. They're going to be in line with the hips. So feet are not touching. They have some space, maybe like a yoga block apart. Tuck those heels a little bit closer towards your hips, arms down by your body, and glide those shoulder blades underneath you. So press really firmly into the ground. Your arms are like your rails. We want these to be as support in guiding, because we're going into some bridges here. So I want the bridges to be just little bitty ones. We're just going to lift the hips an inch or two off the mat and come back down. Tuck your tail under, draw your belly button, supporting as you come up, just lifting that flat part of the spine behind you. Just the derriere comes up and then coming back. And we can even add that big arch at the tip. So I'm going to do a big tipping of my pelvis under, which is going to create space under the lumbar, and placing back. So one more time, just the hips an inch or two, knees pointing straight up, big arch to end it. Okay, let's come up just a little bit more to maybe like the belly button, or where you think your belly button might be. That's fine. And then place the vertebra one at a time. We're creating space, so got to move a little slower so you can really get your imagination into your spine, imagining, which imagination follows manifestation. Imagining and feel that lengthening in the low back, big tilt. Let's do one more time. We're not in a hurry. This is so much fun to extend the spine. Shoulders down, those arms still pressing in, feet pressing in. Some people like to lift their toes. Put your toes down and keep the knees from getting a little squirrely. Sometimes they start moving all over the place, so we don't want that. All right, let's go up to the shoulder blades, the tips of your shoulder blade bones. And then placing everything down, big tilt. And in Pilates we call this the soup bowl. So we're dumping the soup bowl, in other words the headlights of our hips pointing toward, or giving that indication that it's pointing up towards the chest, dumping the soup bowl towards the chest, and then the soup bowl dumps away into the feet. So if you like that imagery, go for that. And nice and slow. So pause for just a moment down at your mat. I want you to take one hand, and you're going to take your middle finger into your belly button and your thumb at what's called the xiphoid process, and that's where the ribs have that loop, or that U, upside down U shape. And slightly pinch, using your muscles. You can pinch with your fingers as well, but I want you to, as you glide yourself up into the bridge, to feel that pinching happening, because I think sometimes what happens is people puff their chest up and they lose what's happening here. So this will be a nice little reminder to tuck under, and then we're going to do this with the hand a few times, just so that, so notice as I tilt, the hand is going to open, or the version of the spine changes. Okay, so this will be a nice reminder as you go back up into the bridge, not to lose the integrity of the ribs drawing towards the belly button, and the belly button drawing back and towards the spine. Okay, arms back down, doing it without the hands' help, without that imagery of the arms. Pause right here, keeping your bridge. Interlace your hands behind your back. If you have some shoulder room to bring back underneath, and keep your derriere engaged. Now the tendency now is to really lose what we were just doing here, and I want you to draw it back. And there'll be a little bit of a tug of war. Part of you wants to puff up, the other part does not, and we're not going to let it. 4, 3, press the arms down, triceps in, 2, squeeze your derriere, and now lift a little higher. You can lose that belly button connection, and release the arms slowly, vertebra by vertebra, coming all the way down. Very nice. Widen out the feet, please, on your mat. Bringing the arms up to the ceiling, we'll zigzag. Arms are going to go over to the right side and the knees are going to drop over to the left. And just hang out here for just a moment, reaching, while the knees reach to the other side. Big stretch here, and I'm even going to do my little fists and bring the hands in. On an inhale, come back to center and just over to the other side. Okay. Reaching in opposite directions. Push your knees that way. Reach. Make a fist. Open up your fingers. Make a fist. Open up your palms. And gently coming back into center. All right. So, bringing your knees into your body. We're going to bring the right knee on top of the left knee. I love shoelace pose. Always feels so awesome. Then when you get to lie down and do it, it's even more awesome. So you want to feel the whole spine imprinting into the mat. Slide your hands to the shins or the top of the ankles, or even some yogis might feel comfortable with the tops of the feet. And you're going to hug your legs in to your body, just hanging out right here, relaxing in the shoulders where is available for you. Now, if you have your ankles, you can circle the feet then. So we're going to keep these shoelace legs just right where they are and make some, I guess you could call these shoelace arms. And they really are more like eagle arms. And so you're going to bring those eagle arms up to meet your knees. So basically an elbow under an elbow, the same way the knee is over the knee. And then exhale, crunch everything together. Let's do 2 more times right here. It's pretty strength training here. Making space in the back, shoulders area. And that might have been the last one. We're going to do one more. Releasing the arms. All we're going to do is slide that knee now to the ankle and go into the hip stretch of a pigeon pose. So right knee is on the right ankle on the left knee, threading the arms and holding the left shin or the left underneath the back of the knee right here. So one way that you can create more space, checking in with the shoulders, drawing down, you can take one hand to the thigh, just avoid the knee. It seems like the knee would be logical, but joints are never stable. Bones are more stable than joints. So when in doubt, leave the joint out. Hand to the thigh and press that knee away. So we kind of like pressing the leg away and pulling it in at the same time. Again, those opposites creating the space. And I like this even for a wrist stretch. Very nice, very nice. Right here. elbow works as well. Push into that area. And after you've created a little more space, you can go back into the traditional, a few rocks right here. And for these last few breaths, let's do 5 curl-ups. This is optional for yogi, and holding the back of the neck is always a nice thing for your body. Inhale as you lengthen, exhale as you curl up. Now as you curl up, draw your belly button back. So you curl up and you create space when you do that. So keeping the ankle on the knee, we're going to take that whole system of legs over to the left side for a side twist. Now you could stack the knees or simply go into a twisted root here, or just leave the ankle on the knee where it is and melt those shoulders. Melting into the twist, so that right knee is melting to the floor here. Creating space in the back molars, so you're opening the jaw or releasing any tension in the jaw by creating space in the back of the mouth. Allow the tongue to peel off the roof of the mouth. Create space there. You could even go so far as to feel the space between your fingers, the armpits, the toes. Final 3 breaths here. And rewinding by bringing the legs back through center. Let's stretch the body before we go to the other side. Circle your wrists and ankles a couple of times each direction. Reach and puff up your chest. Stretch your right side a little longer than your left. Switch, stretch your left side a little longer than your right. And gather those knees once again into the body. Imprint the spine, long neck, shoulders down, and we take the left knee, shoelace pose on top of the right. here we're going to go into those eagle arms. So now the left elbow is under the right one. Inhale, exhale, drawing up. Two more times here. Last time. And sliding that knee to the ankle, threading the needle for some pigeon posing. We can use space to be made right here. Pressing the hand or the elbow into the knee, into the thigh. And if you really got some long arms, you can put your elbow into the thigh. So here we go, 5 breaths. Exhale, draws the body up. And you can hold the back of the head if that's appropriate and feels more loving to your body. And the last one right here. Inhale and releasing. We'll take those legs just in that same formation now over to the right side. Inhale, I am breathing in. Exhale, I know that I am breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Now, breathing and creating space between the thoughts is a lovely practice, even when you're not having yoga. You can do this washing the dishes, if you're doing some house chores. You don't really have to think about what you're doing so much. Then you can turn your awareness into your breath, allow the thoughts to relax, and start to create this spatial awareness within yourself. And as you nurture that, that will grow, and it will create a domino of more relaxation. Start to slip into a more calm state, away from the rumination and anxiety that the mind might be used to. Driving is another great arena. Depends, but long distance driving, breathing. Enjoying the final 3 breaths here. Letting go completely. Creating any space where it can be made. And unwinding, hugging the body in. And I don't know the time, so I've got to get up. I lost my watch. It's Shavasana time. Okay, so I'm going to recommend, if you would like to end your Shavasana traditionally, but if you'd like to end your Shavasana, not traditionally, in a child's pose. So we've done quite a bit in the low back, and this might feel really good for folks who are experiencing some back pain. This will extend in the back. Also, of course, this feels really nice in general. So pick your Shavasana of choice, and I'll see you in a few minutes for final salutations. Bringing a little bit of movement into your fingers and toes. If you do have a little longer time to Shavasana, please do so. I know some folks will be watching this on video, so just pause and hang out here another 5-10 minutes of relax. So important and essential. If you want, and if you are a type of person that's a mover and a shaker, having that balance and seeing the value in rest, it's so essential and underrated, and kind of a demoted frame of being in our culture. I think we can all kind of agree with that. So coming into your seated pose with your hands at your heart center as we come home as Thich Nhat Hanh has he's a Buddhist philosopher, but a master of the understanding of mindfulness. And so mindfulness is coming home into your body, no matter how you're feeling, what's going on, being with your body in a sense of stillness, creating space between thoughts, and for better health, better wellness. So we honor this body, and I honor you all here. It's such a blessing. Namaste.